This is DanTDM. You might know him as a popular Minecraft YouTuber, but he actually began as Pokemon Dan Level 45, one of the biggest Pokemon trading card game channels at the time. Back then, with this channel, Dan used to play Pokemon competitively, and that passion reignited recently thanks to EUIC, Europe's biggest Pokemon card tournament of all time. But with Dan being out of the game for so long, he was going to need some help. So with my recent top 4 placement at Worlds, I thought I'd reach out and he responded. There was a bit of work to do, but I wasn't going to let him down. So he jumped into a coaching session that was so good I just had to share it, because these are tips that anyone playing Pokemon TCG can learn from. Dan told me he wanted to play Lost Zone Giratina VSTAR, which was great news as this was my personal leading choice to play for EUIC as well. Giratina VSTAR is a powerhouse of the Pokemon TCG, being able to knock out any of the large health Pokemon in the format with its Star Requiem and Lost Impact attacks. This deck also features the Lost Zone engine, with Comfy and Colress to get cards into the Lost Zone, and the star of the deck Mirage Gate to power up Giratina VSTAR in a single turn. So with all this going for it, why was it going to be such a challenge to teach Dan this deck? Well, the Lost Zone engine is incredibly complicated for a ton of different reasons. Deciding which cards to put in the Lost Zone off Comfy and Chorus is tough for anybody, and Lost Zone decks generally have a ton of attacking options every turn. Do you attack for free with Cramorant Spin Innocently, spread damage with Sableye's Lost Mine or Radiant Greninja's Moonlight Shuriken, or simply eliminate any Pokemon in one shot with Giratina VSTAR? Fortunately, I was already very familiar with the Lost Zone engine, as I've played over 1,000 games with Lost Zone decks. To prepare for the coaching session, I played hours and hours of games with Giratina against my friend Max Prescott, so I knew as much about the deck and how it interacts with the new format as possible. I thought it was in Dan's best interest to simulate a real game together, while walking through each turn carefully in a Giratina mirror match, as this was sure to be a common matchup at EUIC. And sure enough, we instantly got into a tough position, deciding which Pokemon to attack with on this turn. Well, I'm going to propose something else to you here. Best play in my opinion is you can attack with the Giratina V with Shred, which looks really weird because you're just basically shoving a 2-prizer active. But it puts your opponent into Roxanne immediately if they do that. And so if you bench another Giratina and attack with Shred here, once your opponent kills you with Giratina, you can kill them back and Roxanne them, and that's very strong, is sort of the idea.
So if Cram was available, would you do that or still do the Giratina?
I worked it out. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to Giratina here regardless. Because the issue with that, right, is if you attack with Cram, they're just going to go, okay, set up their Giratina, boss kill your Giratina, and then you don't have a Giratina in play to respond to them back.
Yeah.
So with this play, you get to attack with something you already have on board, which is the Giratina, and you get to bench another Giratina. In Pokemon, bench space is super important, so attacking with Pokemon you already have on board can be super beneficial. In this situation, it's to get another Giratina over on board, but in other situations, it can save your board space for Luminion or another attacker. In this play, was also super important to work out exactly what our opponent is trying to do on the next turn, which is a crucial mistake I see so many players making. When working out your attack, always at least try to work out your opponent's best play on the next turn, and try to play around that. After talking about all this, the next turn we have to talk in depth about prize mapping. To attempt to make this comeback back down 2 prizes, we need to get all the advantage we could get. And so even thinking about what the best attacker is here, like coming up with an actual strategy to win this that's more or less reasonable. You can Sableye 2 times is in this format will almost always get you 3 prize. Well, not almost always, less so against Lost Box, but especially in a situation like this after Roxanne, it's more likely to get you 3 prizes.
Okay.
You can spread damage to Comfy Manaphy Comfy across 2 turns and kill all 3.
Yeah, there's no way for them to just heal it now. It feels weird to leave damage for a turn.
Yeah, well there is a switch card, but the switch card, if you put all the damage on one Pokemon, it's very hard to use. So yeah.
So bench Sableye Energy.
Yep.
And then, because as well, if I hit the Hawlucha off it, I can just ding these again. No.
Well, you have to map out your prizes. So, what do you think your knockouts are for the 5 prizes here?
So Giratina is this turn with my Giratina.
Yeah.
Then I think the rest is probably Comfy Manaphy.
And if we start to think about this more, I guess you can think about the order that you want to do this in. Consider Sableyeing this turn as well, because 1, it doesn't play into Roxanne, and 2, they can't just knock out the active and take 2 prizes, which The thing about how your opponent wants to win, they're going to win in 2 attacks. If you have to use 2 Sableyes and a Giratina, they're allowed to kill the Giratina first, they're going to win before you, because they have less
Right.
attacks. They win in 2 attacks, you win 3 attacks, so you need to make them take 3 attacks to win, so you can win in your 3 attacks first, because you have the turn here
Got it.
right now. Like, if you can use the 1 prizes first.
So same strategy, just flip it. So do the single first, and you avoid Roxanne's. You keep everything that's in your hand too.
Yeah, exactly. You use the Clara for the Sableye next turn, and then you're all good.
Sweet.
Now later in the turn, we have to work out where he should put damage with his Sableye. You're on the right tracks there. For you, it's bad for you to put the Manaphy in the active.
Yeah.
To switch it. So like putting damage on the Manaphy is very good, but you do want to like I'll just say first the damage I want to do. I want to do 70 to Comfy, 50 to Manaphy. And the 50 on Manaphy means that when they switch it to the bench as well, it still has 20 on it. You can still kill the Manaphy and the Comfy doing the same thing in reverse, right?
So take the 1 prize this turn.
Yeah. Take the 1 prize this turn, and then you can take the 2 next turn with Sableye.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Cool. What do you think here? What order do you want to do things in here?
You take the 2, which means if I want to take the 2 prizes, I need Clara to get both back. But then I guess Cramorant just knocks me out anyway.
Yeah, but the Cramorant knocking you out is you're gonna get it. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say my last 2 prizes have to be Giratina, right?
And so yeah, what are you gonna fall on that? How are you gonna do that?
So these 2 go. Cram's still there. Cram knocks out my Sableye.
Yeah.
I guess all I need is boss.
You mean next turn or this turn?
I was originally thinking next turn.
Yeah.
Because I can't really play around Roxanne right now, right?
Yeah.
So Sableye this turn, take these 2. Then it's just trying to get the boss off a potential Roxanne, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's it here. I mean, there's nothing else you can do. The only thing you can really do to thin is take less energies and take less energies, less Pokemon. Like basically make your deck as many good cards as possible. So like use your Comfies, switch cards, stuff like that. To try and thin out as much as possible. So if there's little cards in your deck, so when the Roxanne comes,
yeah,
you can hit the boss.
Worth switch carding just to get the card out?
I think yes, but I think it's because you want to use the Comfies. Because even though obviously it's counter 2 if you're getting the energies out of your deck, like you don't have I mean the energy's obviously good to Greninja. I think you get 1 Greninja, and you already have this Comfy. I mean it's definitely questionable. Definitely debatable. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, because you can Comfy to thin 1 here, 1 here. So thin in 2 more, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. The only issue with it is your deck is full of energies, which are like good cards because you can Greninja them.
Yeah.
But if you get 2 energies, then that's bad. So it's sort of like getting that healthy, medium.
Yeah. But still better to do.
Probably still better to do, yeah. Do at least 1. Maybe keeping the switch card in deck is good. And you just got to fully thin a Comfies, that's good. Then after attacking with Sableye, all Dan had to do was hit the boss off Roxanne. There you go.
From nice. 16, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, you had 2 of them, so.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad. Nice.
Sweet. So yeah, the big point there was switching the turns I did Giratina and Sableye, right?
Yeah. And that's sort of like, yeah, you just gotta have the, like, critical thinking to, like, come up with a solid game for the most likely way to win. Yeah. And like a lot of the time that will be just using the Giratina's last, especially in this matchup, just using the Giratina's last to try and take prizes. There's stuff against Lost Zone as well, like you use the Giratina on the last turn, you Roxanne, hope it doesn't die, and a lot of the time it'll be good enough. The session was going as good as I could hope for. Dan came back from a game down 2 prizes, and I could already tell he was picking up on a lot of the things I was saying. We decided to run another game in the same matchup. The next game starts relatively normally. Dan gets 3 prizes with Cramorant, even killing Manaphy, but then we have to come up with a play in this position after getting Roxanne down to 2 cards in hand very early. We have to work out whether to go for an ambitious Greninja attack, or just simply attack with Cramorant. So you basically, yeah, you basically just have to come up with a game plan to see if you can win with just a cram attack. Otherwise, you have to go for comfy.
Yeah.
And so, but the issue with the comfy is it's such a hail mary. It's like you have to hit Colress into energy switch card, to water energy switch card, and so
Oh yeah,
if
because you can't. Yeah, yeah, because you can't Mirage Gate for two of the same energy. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so like with the Roxanne, you actually have a reasonable chance of winning with just a Cramorant attack. Um, because you're heading prizes, like you take three
Mhm.
turns to, 3 attacks to win. They take 2 attacks, but one of their attacks involves them bossing, which you have Roxanne to try and play around.
Okay.
And you can also hit Greninja next turn as well, and that gives you like an extra turn to use, your concealed cards, extra comfies,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I'd say
Still treating it
it's
fine.
too risky to go comfy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Usually, if you're looking for 2 cards off a comfy, or you're in the gutter.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's one of those situations where I was like tunnel visioning. So I was like, oh, I have to Greninja this turn, where the
yeah,
Cramorant was already just sitting there, ready to go.
yeah. And that's just like, just step back, think about all your options.
Mhm.
I only had 2 there, so yeah. Tunnel vision's real though. I've gotten hard tunnel visioned.
Yeah.
Again, on the next turn, we have to work out whether we want to go for a safe Cramorant Roxanne play or go for a more ambitious Greninja play. So you can win with Colress, and you have the Roxanne Pray That Only Boss line, but the winning with Colress feels a lot better, and is better.
Yeah.
So, but the thing you can definitely do first is, because the one thing you don't know here is what support you want to play, but you do know that you're free to Greninja.
Yeah,
Um,
because I don't need to attach this.
yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Okay.
And then I guess it just comes down to whether you want to Chorus Hero or Roxanne. Um, and so in this spot, you kind of just have to make a like, you have to decide which one do you think is more likely. You hit the Water Energy or Mirage Gate off the Colress, or I hit Boss slash Greninja off Roxanne. And so, what do you think?
I think I have all my waters in deck, but my deck is still 26 cards.
Hmm. You have quite a few arts, right? You have the Mirage Gate, switch cards get you extra comfies. You have the Water Energies Raw, obviously. Um,
Oh yeah, I guess you could double Mirage Gate. Yeah.
yeah, you can use 2 Mirage Gate. And them hitting boss with 7 cards in deck, no bosses down. It's
Like,
it's a bit risky, I would say. So there's a risk either way you take it, right?
yeah.
But it's sort of this just ends up being like, you think about it, you think about like the odds, and you just make a gut call on which one you think is more likely. Because I mean, you're not going to be able to calculate probabilities in
Yeah.
this amount of time.
I think I'm gonna chorus.
Hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
hit it.
oh, yes. I think as well because the Mirage Gate was in hand as well already.
Yeah. Also here, if Sky Bridge wasn't in play, you can put 1 energy on the Greninja and 1 energy on the active as well.
Yeah.
That comes in a lot. If you have like turns where you just have 2 Mirage Gates and you have like no other switch cards, you can do it like this, but you do it with Sky Bridge here. So nice,
So was your mana fee prized, or did you just not find it?
killed it.
Oh yeah, of course. You just didn't recover it.
Yeah, I couldn't recover it. Oh, don't have recovery. I was super happy that we were able to go over so many important concepts like ordering from these games. We decided to play one more game of the same matchup. This game started with a few uneventful turns of abyss seeking and trading knockouts on Giratinas, and then we have to work out how to convert this prize lead. So you want to win as fast as possible. That's sort of the name of the game here. So it's just sort of working out how best you want to do that. Ideally, you'd want to win in 3 attacks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so there are a few ways to do that. So if I'm counting right, you can use Greninja and Sableye twice. Um, that's one way to do it. Or Snorlax is the same thing, but the Greninja's already on board, so it's a bit easier to use. So that'll do 90 to both Pokemon, then you knock out the Greninja and the put the rest of the damage on the active. It puts it to 180, and then you can knock it out after that.
Yeah.
We decided to go for a Greninja attack, but we have to work out exactly how to do it with this hand. So like you're gonna need to find a water in your hand.
Oh yeah. So Clara Gate is Nest to check is there. Clara then Gate ideally if it's there.
Yes. And then you can diverge off after that, like maybe go for a Colress if it's not there. Here I emphasize with Dan prize checking throughout the game. A lot of the time you won't be able to search every prize on the first turn, but it's very easy to check on the turns you need it. Here, we decided that he should play Nest Ball to make sure the Water Energy is in the deck. Even though we thought it was there, have to be confident when doing that play. We then attack with Greninja, and after a relatively quiet turn where we get Rock Sand and have to attack with Cramorant, we have to work out the best way to attack with Sableye for the next 2 turns. And for this turn, we have to talk about the best way to hit a Psychic Energy.
If I don't knock out, I'm not going to knock out the Giratina, so you could just boss the game after.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got the right idea that they can, like, thinning can be helpful. But yeah, exactly. These 2 cards probably a lot more likely to hurt than they help.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it to like make your play worse, basically. For thinning, and that's almost a general rule. Like thinning is good, but it's not as good as making your play actually worse.
Yeah. So do I just go Roxanne now and then Comfy after? Or
I would say so for sure. Like 14 cards in deck, drawing 6, and then you draw 2, you draw 8. I mean, you have like a Mirage Gate and a Psychic Energy of Recycler. Those are pretty good. Well, there you go. Saved.
Yeah.
He attacks with Sableye, and we get on to the last turn of the game. At the end of the game, I gave Dan a puzzle. All you need to know here is there is a Recycler in deck. Can you work it out faster than Dan? You have a guaranteed win. Before you promote, you have to work out how you're going to win.
I have a guaranteed win, okay.
Yeah, well, what's the attack first?
There's 2, right? It's either Sableye, except Sableye in hand, or Greninja.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, okay, hold on. So, promote Comfy. Do I Chorus to draw the deck, Recycler?
Yep.
And then grab the Psychic Energy, retreat, game, right?
Yep, exactly. You got it.
Let's do this.
Exactly. Nice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That went well.
We caught up a few weeks later to make sure Dan was familiar with every matchup in the format that he could possibly come up against at EUIC. Dan decided to add Tropius to the deck to knock out Tyranitar V in the Lugia decks that were heavily hyped in the lead up to the event. The day of EUIC came, and unfortunately Dan wasn't able to do as well as he hoped for, only having 2 ties to show for his efforts before he dropped out of the tournament. But he had a second chance in the London Cup the next day, a massive side event with over 300 players. And Dan decided to play Arceus Giratina after seeing Sammy Sakum's success on day 1. This tournament went far better for Dan. He managed to get 3 wins and even got a tie against Brennan Kammerman, one of the best players in Europe. I want to thank Dan for his willingness in doing this, as it was super fun and even motivated me to prepare more myself. But with that said, thanks for watching, guys.